Jim, a 0-0 draw point here in the final away game of 2019, but it could have been three.
Well, it could have been, Jim. Yeah, and this is a notoriously difficult place to come. I never, had too much success here myself as a player, but the pitch was quite heavy today. It didn't allow for a lot of pretty football, but I felt, over the course of the 90 minutes that we played the game in St Johnstone's half for the majority of that. In terms of chances created, we didn't really have any real clear-cut chances. St Johnstone had a decent chance in the first half where they broke away and Vaclav had to make an important save. We had a couple as well, a couple of half chances where we managed to work the goalkeeper, which was good. But I suppose in terms of the overall game, I've got to be pleased with a point on the road. But there was a moment there in the first half where I felt we were really dominating the game and pushing St Johnstone back, and I felt that that was a real important time for us to go and get that goal. And if we had have done that and got our noses in front, then I thought it would have knocked St Johnstone big time. But unfortunately we couldn't get our noses in front. But I think in terms of the overall performance, I've got to be pleased.
Yeah, 4 points from 6 from our last two on the road, 2 clean sheets as well. That must be pleasing.
Of course it is, yeah. And the last 3 games have been good, and it's important that we're able to put a run of unbeaten games together. We haven't been able to do that in the season up to now, so it's a good time to do it. And St Johnstone make life difficult for you. They enjoy the battle, and we had to make sure that we were up for that today, and I thought we were. I thought the 2 centre halves were outstanding. Middle of the park, I thought we dominated large spells of that. And up front, I thought John and Junior were a real handful all afternoon. So I think over the whole balance, in terms of if we look at chances created and shots on goal, a draw was probably a fair result, but I did feel that we were the better team on the day.
If you look at the last 3 games, probably a lot was made heading into those about how important they could be in the context of the season. Unbeaten in those 3, 5 points from them. How pleased have you been with that?
I've been delighted with it, really. The only kind of disappointment that we've had was the Motherwell game, obviously at home, where it was just a bad night. We knew the run of fixtures that we had, playing Ross County, Hamilton, Livingston, here today, teams that are in and around us. We knew that we had to pick up some points during those games. Thankfully, against those 4 teams, we've managed to get 2 wins and a couple of draws as well. And some really good positive performances. Obviously we've got Celtic on Boxing Day, then of course we've got Kilmarnock, but then after that, when we come back after the break, after the cup game, we're going into the difficult ones again. No disrespect to the other teams around us, but when you're playing Celtic, Aberdeen, Rangers, those are difficult afternoons. Now we believe we can beat anybody, but you've got to have an element of luck in those games as well. So this little period we had was massive, and we've managed to pick up some good results, which has been very pleasing.
Yeah, you got Paul McGinn and Sam Foley back today. How pleased are you to have both of them back, and how did you rate their contributions?
Listen, I thought the both of them were excellent on the day. And yeah, they're big players for us. Sam in the middle of the park, he reads the game, his communication in terms of talking to the boys around him. 9 times out of 10 he tends to be in the right area to pick up the second balls and just to keep us ticking along. Paul McGinn in alongside Sean again. I thought the 2 centre halves today were outstanding, I really did, along with, I have to say, Ryan Flynn and Callum Waters, because St Johnstone have got some real pace at the top of the pitch, and I thought Flinney in the first half in particular against Matty Kennedy, who's one of the informed wingers in the league. We didn't get much out of Flinney today, and I think great credit's got to go to the back 4 and Vaclav for the clean sheet, but also it's important that people recognise the work rate of the players up front. We pressed St Johnstone really high today. We were aggressive with it. We didn't allow them time on the ball. As soon as one of the strikers went, the next one went, and they were backed up by the midfield, who then were backed up by the defenders, and it was just an all-round brilliant competitive performance. It wasn't pretty at times, but at the same time it gives me great heart going forward to know that we've got that level of commitment from the group.
Yeah, 2 games at home to close out the season, to close out the year with Celtic and Kilmarnock. How do you approach those 2?
Well, listen, we've got to approach them and try and win them. It's as simple as that. We never set up to be negative, but of course, against Celtic and Rangers, in particular, you've got to be clever, and you've got to try and nullify the gaps and the spaces and not allow them too much time on the ball. And I think against both sides of the Old Firm this year we've done okay. Of course we've lost both games, but 1-0 in one and 2-0 in the other. There's no shame in that. But I think if we're at it on Boxing Day and we put that level of commitment and effort into the game, then you just never know. Of course, if Celtic play the way they're capable of playing, and they can cut you open, and they can be a hard day, but we have to believe going into it that we've got a chance of taking something from the game, and that will certainly be our mindset come Boxing Day. And it's great to go into the Christmas period as well on the little run that we're on in terms of unbeaten in 3, and all feeling good about ourselves and looking forward to spending some Christmas with the families.
And just finally, I know we talk about it a lot with the fans again today. I mean, we're only a couple of days away from Christmas and they've travelled up here in big numbers again, and we're loud throughout the whole game.
Listen, they have been amazing, honestly, since I've came in. That's 6 months now I've been in here, and home and away they've been brilliant. But it's a special mention needs to go to the away guys, because it's a lot of travelling involved. There's a lot of expense in terms of paying for their buses and paying for the day out and the ticket and everything else, especially at this time of year. But listen, they were good when I was here as a player, but they've got better, I have to say. I love the songs, I love the atmosphere that they create, and that's Hamilton 3 weeks ago. You would have thought we were the home team again here today, without being disrespectful to the St Johnstone home fans, but all you could hear all afternoon was our guys. So listen, they're brilliant, and I can't explain to them how important it is, because when the players hear it and see it, it just gives them that little extra bit more that they want to go and do it for them, and a big shout out has to go to them, and I wish them all a very Merry Christmas.
Jim, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, James White.